What's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome back to a brand new video today, and welcome to an F1 2018 game idea, career mode idea video. May seem quite early in the game cycle to be bringing a video out like this, but actually, if you think about it, it's the perfect time to be making a video like this, because in reality, by the time we start hearing news about the new game, everything is locked down, nothing can really change, and even by the time the kind of quote-unquote alpha, beta, whatever you want to call us, the testers go to Birmingham, we went last year, well, this year technically, in around like the end of February it was, or the beginning of March, and for 2016 it was in March, and by the time we tested the game this year and last year, the same, both times has been the same thing pretty much, where a lot of the major game-changing ideas for the game have already been nailed down. There's not too much you can change there. We can give feedback on them and try and, polish them in a different way to maybe what the Codemasters guys were thinking, and, smaller ideas can definitely change. There definitely have been some smaller ideas that have made their way, but generally, everything's kind of nailed down, so this is the perfect time. Obviously, they're still going to be working and focusing on like patching this year's game on 2017, but also I kind of guess maybe half the team or something like that has already started their focus on next year's game, and so I feel like this is the perfect time to bring this up. Now, this video is kind of split into two sections. The first half is going to be this idea I have. It's only kind of one major idea, but it's a pretty big one that I feel will fundamentally change everything quite a bit. But do let me know any kind of ideas you guys have for the new 2018 game, any ones that you've kind of already thought of after having obviously played the 2017 game now for just over a month. You guys may have ideas, so pop them in the comments below. I'll be trying to tweet this to some of the Codemasters guys, so hopefully they do give it a watch, and I really do hope they give it a watch for the second half of this video, because the first half is this game idea. The second half is not really a game idea, but it's basically a major issue that I have with this game, and I really hope that some people, Cody, see it, because I really do hope it gets addressed, or at least I can find an answer to it. So yeah, so that's the second half, but the first half is this actual idea I have. So it's to do with R&D. So right now I brought up a picture of the R&D chart, if you will, of the entire season from Season 2 of my career mode. So if you're not familiar with it, I was driving as Renault. I drove in Season 1 as Toro Rosso. But you can clearly see the pecking order hasn't changed too much. I mean, Mercedes have now got ahead of Ferrari when they initially started behind them, but that's not a huge deal, to be honest, let's be honest. But Red Bull have stayed pretty much the same. The gap has stayed the same. The gap from Red Bull to Williams is pretty much the same, if not even a little bit larger, actually. And the only major kind of change, actually, when you look at it, is Force India and Renault closing up to Williams somewhat. Obviously, I closed up to Force India quite significantly at Japan, you can see, with a double upgrade. And then Toro Rosso and Haas are pretty much the same. McLaren and Sauber, pretty much the same. And what is the case is, nothing's changed dramatically. The pecking order hasn't really moved around too much. And although, yes, in 2016, it was probably way too much. Like, in 2016, I think I remember Red Bull could easily become the best team, after having started as the third best within a season, and Toro Rosso, a team like Toro Rosso, could move up to fourth place in the standings after an entire season, which was a bit too fast. I'll admit to that. But this is just a little bit. It's just a little bit dry, in my opinion. I don't know if anyone else feels like it. I feel like there are definitely people that do also agree with me, because I saw comments about it. And this was an idea, it's not an old idea, it's actually an idea that I brought up in the testing phase for this year's game. So, literally this year, just prior, a few months ago, back in March, or end of Feb, or whenever it was, I can't really remember. This was an idea I brought up in one of the kind of so if you don't know how it works, we basically tested the game for an entire day, and then there would be like an hour feedback session, where we'd kind of, all of us would kind of talk at Paul Gilles, Lee Mather, some of the other dev guys, there'd be different departments coming in as well, and the community managers, and just basically just talking about our feedback and any ideas we had. And so this was an idea I had about halfway through the kind of testing week, after having tested the R&D and the career mode quite significantly. And my idea was here that I feel every 2 to 3, maybe 3, but I think also 2 could work. Every 2 to 3 seasons, I feel like there needs to be a bit of a randomizer shuffle of the pecking order, just like you might see in real life F1. We saw McLaren sign Honda, and their R&D graph must have, if you picture it like that, their graph of performance just went down. They're going to sign Renault next year, so they're going to spike up. We've seen Red Bull go down from 2014 to 2015. Obviously, we've seen Ferrari, go up in 2015, go down in 2016, then come back up for 2017. And they've had that kind of cat and mouse game. We've seen Force India, a huge resurgence, in 2 years going up. Williams have had a very bipolar couple of years, going up and down, up and down. And I feel like a randomizer where it's not a huge swing, but basically at the end of every 2 to 3 seasons, the game will basically look at the pecking order, and I don't know how it would work. Obviously, there are going to be clever people that will, hopefully be able to code something like this, but this is my idea at the time of a randomizer of basically it kind of looks at every team and just has a randomizer of, okay, this team, X, Y, or Z, whatever, Ferrari, Red Bull, Force India, whatever you have it looks at every team and goes, right, are you going to stay put? Are you going to go down 1? Are you going to go up 1? Or are you going to go up 2? Or even down 2? And it just goes through each team and does that, maybe probably every 3 seasons, because that actually, saying it now kind of sounds quite dramatic. So probably every 3 seasons, it kind of does that to the entire grid. So what you would get is from the end of the last season to the next season, things would actually feel fresh. Things would change up a lot, because right now, I'll be honest, even with the R&D progress, which is making a difference, and you can clearly see there is a performance gain, it's feeling just a bit too samey in a way. And maybe that's also, unfortunately, a kind of, bad part of the actual real life 2017 season. The fact that the game has to obviously when it starts off in season 1, you have to realistically model the car performances. So the fact that Mercedes and Ferrari are so far ahead of Red Bull, and then Red Bull is so far ahead of the rest of the midfield, the fact you have that gulf, and then also the gulf from the lowest midfield team to McLaren and Sauber, because of that gulf, it's very hard for the AI to naturally close that gap, because we've seen McLaren, yes, if you play McLaren, if you're the player, yeah, you can close that gap. You can get to P3 or, P4 in the standings within 3 seasons probably, or something like that, or 4 seasons. But the AI just can't. The AI just don't. They just don't do that. They're just not good enough to do that. And neither is the same way with Red Bull being able to catch Ferrari or Mercedes, or, Toro Rosso and Haas catching up to Renault, Force India and Williams. They're just not good enough. And I feel like they need that kind of kick in the butt, that kind of randomizer effect to play into it. And I think it keeps the game very, very fresh every 3 seasons or so if you had that, because it's almost like you have a bit of a reset button for regulations. Obviously Codemasters can't say there's a regulation change because of FOM and the licensing, but I feel also that would play into improving the cutscenes, because then you could get kind of, I don't know if it costs any extra, but pay Crofty a little bit extra to then record some more lines of something like during the off season the pecking order can sometimes change. Anthony, how do you think this is going to work out? And then he can say some blab about teams having to work hard to catch back up, or sometimes things don't go right over the winter. And that's the way you can get around it without actually officially saying, we're changing the pecking order completely. There's been a regulation change. That's the way you can get around it, just by kind of lightly kind of saying that, the pecking order can change in F1, and it can do. It can change very dramatically. And so I feel like every 3, even 4, I don't know, maybe 4 seasons if you guys think it's sounding too extreme. But I think that's an idea that I really hope they look into in some sort of way, implement some kind of version of that for 2018 at least. I was hoping it would make it into this year's game, because as I said, I actually brought this idea up in testing for this year's game. And at the time, I don't know, it's obviously months ago, but from what I remember, I felt like it went down pretty well. I mean, there were some smiles. I think I even remember Paul Gilles writing it down in his notebook at the time. So I feel like it was a decent idea that went down well. Obviously, at the time, maybe it was just too much work to implement in. But part of me really hoped it would have made it in, because I was actually, at the end of Season 2 of my career mode, I was kind of just waiting for, okay, is anything going to change? Is there going to be any magic huge difference in the AI? But alas, there wasn't really too much, and it's just a bit, you know, it's not horrendous, but it's not a huge spice of freshness. Obviously, things are changing. You can see Force India have closed up to Williams, and I've closed up to Force India, and you can see that McLaren and Sauber are improving somewhat, and yes, Mercedes are now ahead of Ferrari in that graph compared to at the start of the season. Ferrari ended up at the beginning, but the pecking order stayed the same going into season 3, and I would have liked to have seen a bit more of a change. So that's my kind of major idea at this stage for F1 2018. I may do another video like this, maybe after reading your guys' comments. So as I said, if you guys have any ideas of your own that you feel like need to get into 2018, then pop it in the comments below, and then hopefully also guys at Codemasters can read through the comments and maybe see some of the ideas there. But I might do another video if you guys want, kind of going through your best ideas from the comments. But then, okay, let's go on to the second half of this video, and I really hope some people at Cody's are watching this, or at least skipped up to this point of the video to watch it. And if you are, hi, hope you're well. That was all a bit meta, but it's to do with F1 2017 on the PC. So it's not going to affect everyone, but it is going to affect quite a lot. But it is going to affect a quite passionate part of the community, and I think some of you guys can already guess what I'm saying. It's to do with modding on F1 2017, and a new system they have on this game in conjunction with Steam, I think, or it may be just an inbuilt thing, basically. But basically, F1 2017 on the PC has an anti-cheat software, which basically tries to prevent anyone cheating online, which is fair enough, which is great. You know, you don't want anyone cheating online. But this same software, if you modify the car files of F1 2017, be it the livery, be it the performance, be it just literally the most minor thing, like a helmet or something, I think, as well. But if you try to change anything, the game will, obviously, if you go online, it will just kick you out, and that's what it's meant to do. But for some absurd reason, this same software also wants to mess up what you do in single player. Because if you modify any car file, the game simply does not want to save the game. The game just starts to basically not function very much. You go into career mode, you do a practice session, you back out, you quit out the game, you come back in, it's not saved. You're at the beginning of that same session. You do a race, you do a Grand Prix mode race, you go to the race, you've qualified, you go to that race, and you feel like you don't want to do the race. You back out, you quit the game, you come back the next day, you boot it back up, it's reset itself. It's not saved that race. The game, for some reason, and the software to prevent cheating online, for some reason, it's really just quite... It also just messes up the single player, and I see no reason why it should do so. It is 2017. I highly doubt the system is not clever enough to realize, oh, the player is going offline on single player. That doesn't really that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Oh, I'm cheating against myself. Oh, I'm modding the game. Oh, I'm cheating against myself. We need to stop that. It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. And if you bring in the argument of career mode score, let's be brutally honest. No one cares about career mode score. I've never cared about it. I haven't met anyone who's cared about career mode score. I don't think I've even looked at the graph for career mode score. So if there's the argument of, oh, if you mod the game and play career mode, it will mess up that career mode score, I honestly, you could take that part out of the game. I don't think anyone would miss it in a beat. And I just hope that maybe I can start a conversation here, and, you know, feel free. If anyone from Codemasters is watching, please shoot me a DM on Twitter, or even email me at my business email. There's a link in my Twitter bio to my business email, because I would like to talk about this more, because I feel like this system really does not need to be there for single player. I don't know why it's affecting single player, and if it feels like I'm just talking about this because of my driver, it's not. I can do my driver still without, I don't need to save the game. I can do my driver on Grand Prix mode. I don't need to save the game. I'm talking about the very, yes, small, it is small, it's not a large majority, it's not even a large minority, but it is a passionate group of people who like to mod the game on PC, on Race Department or other forums. that just can't do it now because they all like to install mods to the game and then play career mode and play the normal career mode with the R&D as well on top of the mods they've added. You know, some people don't even modify the performances, so they just play the career mode like it's career mode, but they want to, you know, have their own helmet in the game, or they want to change the helmets of other drivers. They want to update the helmets. They want to update the liveries to the latest liveries. They want to change the liveries around just because they feel like it to keep the game fresh. And I feel like it's very ignorant if you did not realize, this to Cody's, if you did not realize that PC modding, for the PC side at least, freshens up your game and gives it about 5 more months of shelf time for people to play. It really does. I'm not trying to make it sound more than it is. It really does. And you can just see that by the amount of mods that were made for F1 2016, 2015, 2014, 13, 2012. Do I have to go on? And the reason why I'm making a video about this instead of just simply tweeting them is because it's a precedent. It's a precedent because I feel like this is no different to, it's a smaller scale, but it's no different to when Rockstar wanted to start slapping people in the face for GTA 5 mods. It's not the same thing because Rockstar sent cease and desist letters to modders who were like charging stuff. This is a very watered down case. No one's charging. I don't think I've seen anyone charge money for any F1 Codemasters mods. This is all free stuff. This is all people who are just passionate about the F1 game, who want to be creative with the F1 game, sharing it with each other in Race Department, sharing it in videos and whatnot, and they're being slapped and killed off and suffocated, basically, because of a very stupid anti-cheat system, which can't seem to tell the difference between, oh, you're wanting to play online, and oh, I'm wanting to play an offline single-player experience. And the last time I checked, single-player F1 2017 isn't always online. It's a single-player that should be able to be played offline, and yet the game has issues with you modifying the files. It's just absurd. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So please, I mean, anyone else watching the video, in the comments below, I know there are definitely a good number of you guys who also like to mod, and you guys have been tweeting me as well since the game came out, pretty much. Do let me know, and do, you know, just let Cody's know in the comments below as well your thoughts on it. Because obviously, as you can clearly tell, I feel strongly about it because I feel like it is a precedent that's being set. Because this is half the beauty with owning a game on PC, is the fact you can mod it. And it feels like just low-key, slyly, Cody's are trying to kill off PC modding. I don't know if that is the case. Maybe it might be, if FOM have told them to try and crack it down or something like that. Whatever the case, I would love to continue the conversation, so I hope, you know, someone at Cody's does get in contact and I can get an answer. I can, you know, get to the bottom of, you know, what's happening here and if it's going to be able to be changed for this year's game or for next year's game, because, you know, I'm not going to lie, it is a big deal for me. That is a big deal. It just as I said, as a precedent. Not even for me personally making videos, because I can do vanilla career mode. I can make other videos. I can also, as I said, I can work around the fact the game doesn't save your career mode if you mod the game. I can work around that. I never used career mode in my driver. I always did one-off Grand Prix modes and just calculated all the points myself. But for the majority, people would love to mod the game and save their career modes. And it just doesn't make any sense why it needs to be this way. So that's been this video. Apologies if it kind of seems like I'm taking a bit more of a somber, edgy, angry tone at the end of this video, but it really is something that I believe in quite passionately, that it's something that needs to change here. And I can't fully 100% support the game anymore for next year and the years on if it's going to just stay like this. I've had nothing but good stuff to say about this game, but this is the one really, really quite crummy BS thing that I've seen from this game. And I'm not going to cushy up because I'm afraid I'll offend someone. If I see BS like this, I will call it out. And it is just honk that the anti-cheat software is stopping people from modding it on single player and saving their game. Multiplayer, of course. It makes total sense. Offline, single player, no need. No need. Anyway, that's been this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been Eva. Hope you enjoy it the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time.